Have you ever wanted to play D&D but just don't have anybody to play with? Either your friends are too far away, or you just can't get everybody together at the right time, or maybe you're just the forever DM and you never have anybody to DM for you, but you just want to play. Well, there's some options out there. For instance, you could try playing solo. How do we do this? Well, today I have a book that'll help with just that. So let's get into it. Hello everybody, I'm Joe and this is the DM Toolbox, your go-to place to find all the tools you need to enhance your D&D games. Now before we get started today, a couple of announcements. First and foremost, I have a giveaway going on right now for 5th edition foes. This week, I hit the milestone of 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I want to thank each and every one of you who subscribed. I really appreciate the support and I hope to keep growing this channel. So if you are interested in winning this book, I will put a little link up here where you can go and check out the video on how to enter. I'll be doing the giveaway for that on New Year's Eve this year. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and the notification button up top so you get notified on when I have new videos coming out. Additionally, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at toolbox_DM. And on TikTok at DM Toolbox. I do a lot of cool short videos and other things on TikTok. That's a lot of fun, so definitely worth checking that out. Okay, as I mentioned in the intro, playing D&D solo. How do we do this? First off, is it even fun? Can it be done? Do the rules allow for it? Well, I think some of that is perspective. 5th edition is not really a system set up for solo play. Now, Wizards of the Coast did release in the Essentials Kit, which is one of the box sets, some rules for playing solo, which included companions. So it definitely can be done. It can just be a little tricky. However, I have this book here, Into the Unknown, a solo adventure from Pacesetter Games. And they have given us a nice 1 through 5 adventure that can be played solo. And now, in the Essentials Kit, I said that was more about a 1DM, 1 player. This is literally a book that you can play D&D by yourself. The book is your DM. It's kind of like back in the day, those old choose your adventure kind of books, but we actually get to roll some dice and stuff like that in this as well. So it's kind of a cool book. Now, I also thought about it. I could definitely run this for a single player. I thought about maybe running this for my daughter because we have trouble getting her friends together for a normal D&D group, but she's always wanted to play. So I might run this as a DM for her. However, I might run it for myself as well. So what Pacesetter Games has done here is they have come up with some ways to facilitate solo play, which I think is really neat. So this book opens up here with some instructions on how solo play is going to work. And there's a couple of things to note. And I think the majority of this video is really going to be covering this because the rest of it is the adventure itself. So the solo system is what they call their way of doing this. But essentially you get these adventure points as you level. So at level 1, you have 1 adventure point. When you hit level 2, you gain 2 adventure points. When you hit level 3, you gain 3 adventure points. So a level 3 person could have 6 level points, 1 from level 1, 2 from level 2, and 3 from level 3. However, you could spend those adventure points. And that's really the trick to the system here. So basically what you can do is you can spend an adventure point for a mulligan. We can re-roll a die. I rolled an attack and I missed, and I'm worried that this monster might kill me in my next roll. I can spend one of my adventure points to get to re-roll that die. I have to take those results, or I can spend another adventure point and re-roll it again. But that's essentially what it does. I can do this with an attack, a saving throw, a skill check, pretty much anything. You can even spend them to re-roll a damage die, or re-roll, if you're rolling for your hit points, instead of taking the average, you could re-roll your hit point roll. So all sorts of things you can do with these adventure points. So that's a really neat system. And it's definitely something unique that I haven't seen before, and that I definitely want to try because I think it will add a little bit to that solo play. Sometimes you just need that forgiveness. You need that redo, and you don't want to be cheating. You don't want to just cheat yourself. So this gives you a way to do it within the rules and not make you want to go, oh, fudge that roll. What's the point of playing if you're just, by yourself, especially if you're just going to fudge all the rolls? So this is a cool little system. For character creation, create your character as you normally would. However, this was kind of cool. In the back, there's an appendix that they gave us, and I'm going to find it here. And what they did was they just threw some tables together, and you can just roll a random character. So I can roll a d10 for my race, I can roll a d12 for my class, a d10 for my alignment, a d10 for personality trait, ideals, bonds, flaws, background, family status, and object of great personal attachment. So each of these tables, whether it's a D8 or D12 or D6, let me roll up just a random character to go with. Now, I would still do my ability scores and choose my skills and, spells and stuff like that. But this is kind of a fun way to just create a random character. I thought that was kind of neat. They also give us some new classes and races in the back as well in the appendix. So what do we got here? So we have, for some new subclasses, we have got a Elemental Ranger, which is kind of neat. Basically, you're relying on the elements of the earth. So it's kind of like more of a druidy ranger. I thought it was kind of neat. There is a Path of the Runeseeker Barbarian. This is a barbarian who gets to cast. There's actually some spells. So you get some spell slots and cantrips, and you become a spellcasting barbarian. They also allow you at level 3, you can calculate your unarmored defense with charisma instead of dexterity. So you can put your points into your charisma as you're spellcasting and still get some armor out of that, which is kind of neat. The other stuff we get here is for our races. We have got a new dwarf subrace, which is very similar to a mountain dwarf, but they get a bump to their charisma, and they're all about magic. They're kind of like this high class. They're kind of like the high elves of dwarves. So they get better charisma. They're good with jeweler proficiency. They get some charming spells, and they're all about magic. They like magic. The other one we get is this Finfolk, which is kind of like a fish folk kind of race. And they are both good at hunting, and they make good sages as well. So those are some, new things that Pacesetters bring into us as well. You don't have to use them, but it's always fun to have, some new player options. The next thing they go into in here is difficulty modes. So we have 2 modes here. We have story mode and we have hard mode. So story mode is more or less, playing at an average pace, to more enjoy the story and not worry about, every encounter killing you. Hard mode is going to be a lot harder. Now, one of the things they allow for in the solo system here is to hire companions. You can get guys to come with you. In story mode, you can do that. In hard mode, you can't. Although there is sort of an exception to that where you can get a companion for kind of like a single quest as opposed to a full-on hireling. And when you do have hirelings, you do have to pay them 10% of your treasure that you find. So you do get a little less there. But, they do talk about things like combat in solo adventuring being more difficult, especially if you're a caster. So if you're a caster, you probably want to play in story mode. And you probably want to play in story mode, and you probably want to have some kind of, meat shield of a companion, a fighter or paladin, somebody that can be your tank for you so you can sit back and cast. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot harder. The monsters themselves, you're going to control the monsters too. So this is going to be a big practice in kind of not metagaming. Like, you want to actually give yourself a challenge. The book itself will kind of handle the story and what you see and tell you what's there and things like that. But when it comes to combat, you're rolling for the monsters. So this to me is kind of one of the drawbacks of the solo play in 5e, right? Because it really relies on the person to keep themselves honest and play it right. I think it's also a great practice, though. If you are a DM who often puts the kid gloves on for your players, this could be a chance for you to really say, I'm going to play to win on both sides. I'm going to take these monsters and I'm going to try and kill my character with them. Character death in here, the way we deal with that is we roll a new character. And there's kind of save points, right? It's almost like a video game where within a certain quest or a certain part of the book, you kind of go back and start that part over if you die and have to roll a new character. So it's sort of something like that. Then the book itself is going to have area descriptions. It's going to have maps. It's going to work off of milestone leveling. And then, there will be treasure. There's a treasure index in the back. And then they talk about resting as well. So if your character performs a long rest at a detailed location, you must roll for wandering monsters a total of 3 times. So you'll roll 3 checks per night if you're resting out in the wilderness, and you might get some wandering monsters. Now, that won't affect your ability to achieve a long rest, but if you end up with 3 encounters in the night after a long day, they're going to get progressively harder. So you do have that. They also do suggest you track your encumbrance, and they kind of have like, if you know when you play a video game, you can go to the inn and you throw all your gear in a chest. They kind of do the same thing here. They want you to track that stuff because it adds a level of challenge to the solo play. And that way you're not just walking around with a ton of stuff. So there's different places you can go and leave your gear. There is regional exploration, things like that. But the basic story behind this is that you are a new adventurer recently graduated from Farador Keep, which is a kind of an adventurer's school. And you're heading off they're going to give you your first assignment. And then from there, the book is going to give you choices. Do you want to do this thing, or this thing? It's usually like 3 choices, I think. And it'll branch off. So you could probably play through this multiple times and have a different experience each time. But we do have, some nice maps here in the back of the book. They do give us maps of different locations and things like that. During the adventure itself, sometimes you will only see the map of the room you're in. Other times you might see the entire map of the area that you're in, depending on the particular adventure. So, for instance, the first adventure that you get sent to, is to go to a mine. So when you go to the mine, you'll get a full map of that mine and be able to go and explore it. Here we go. Here's the mine. So you'll get this map actually handed to you, so you can see the whole thing. But there's numbers on here, and you'll have encounters and stuff like that. And then, like I said, from there, it's going to branch out. Now, they give you this map here. It's kind of like your area map, your localized area map. And there's different quests and things that you can go to there. So they lay out the book in such a way that, like I said, it does kind of feel almost a video game, like Neverwinter Nights or Baldur's Gate kind of feel to it. And I think you kind of need that for that solo playing by yourself. But again, I feel like I could easily pick this up and run this for a single player as well, and run it as a DM. So 2 ways to play there, which I think is really, really awesome. So this, like I said, is from a company called Pacesetter Games, and I like a lot of their stuff. They actually have a few of these solo adventures, and they have some other things as well. I'm going to put a link to their site down in the description. Recommend you check them out. I think there's some really cool stuff. I know when I was younger, back when I was a kid in the 90s, and I first started playing like AD&D, I didn't always have someone to play with, and I could have really, really used a book like this back then. Hopefully, in the modern days of virtual tabletops like Foundry and Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds and Shard, that's not so much an issue anymore. But sometimes it's just hard to find the time, and this could be a cool way to play. So I definitely recommend it. Go check it out, Pacesetter Games. I hope you guys like it. I hope you like this video. Don't forget about the giveaway. Go check out my video about the giveaway so you can enter to win 5th edition Foes. I hope you guys win it. But yeah, that's it for now, guys. So until next time, roll those dice.